Working the night shift at the city's oldest hospital morgue changes how you view death. You get used to the cold, the smell of formaldehyde, and the heavy, suffocating silence. My supervisor gave me only one strict rule when I started. No matter what noises you hear from the metal drawers, never open them after midnight. And if a body arrives with a black cloth tied around its eyes, do not look beneath it. For 2 years, I followed that rule perfectly. But last night, at exactly 2:14 a.m., the paramedics brought in a Jane Doe. She was found in an abandoned basement, frozen in a kneeling position. Her face was completely covered by a thick, filthy black cloth, tightly knotted behind her head. The police note simply said, "Do not uncover." As I washed her pale, ice-cold skin, a morbid curiosity began to eat at my mind. The morgue felt unusually freezing. The fluorescent lights overhead began to hum and flicker violently. I stared at the black cloth. What were they hiding? A mutation? A horrific crime? My hands trembled as I reached out. I snapped the knot. I pulled the black cloth away. Underneath, her eyelids weren't just closed. They were violently sewn shut with thick, black fishing line. Her skin was bruised, and her jaw was locked into an unnaturally wide, agonizing scream. I gasped, stepping backward, instantly regretting what I did. I threw the cloth back over her face, shoved her metal tray into the storage wall, and locked the heavy steel door. 30 minutes later, the horror began. A low, wet scratching sound echoed from inside her metal drawer. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It sounded like fingernails tearing against the steel. I froze in my chair, staring at the wall of dead bodies. Then a horrific sound made my heart stop. It was the loud, wet snap of a thread breaking. Then another, and another. Snap, snap, snap. She was ripping the strings out of her own eyes. Before I could run, the heavy handle of her metal drawer began to turn from the inside. The steel door flew open with a deafening crash. The frozen body of the woman slid out. She sat up slowly, her movements stiff and mechanical like a broken doll. The black fishing line was hanging loose from her bloody, shredded eyelids. Her eyes were completely gone. There were only two hollow, rotting black holes bleeding down her pale cheeks. She turned her empty sockets directly toward me. The lights in the morgue shattered one by one, plunging the room into absolute darkness, except for the moonlight streaming through the small window. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed by pure evolutionary terror. She opened her jaw so wide that the skin at the corners of her mouth tore open, and a sound came out of her. It wasn't a human voice. It was a chaotic, deafening chorus of 1,000 screaming people, all agonizing at the same time. She crawled off the table, her limbs snapping loudly into place, and began to sprint toward me on all fours like a spider. The police found me the next morning sitting in the corner, clawing at my own eyes until they bled. I am writing this from a padded room in a psychiatric ward. The doctors tell me it was a hallucination, but they don't know the truth. Every time I close my eyes to sleep, the darkness isn't empty anymore. She is standing there in the blackness of my own mind, whispering, "Thank you for opening my eyes. Now let me open yours."